critters. Oh, hello. Let's see what my kids do to me. Alright, it's been sitting. Let's get some gas in the carburetor. This is my 1964 Barracuda. I've had it since 1994. My friend at the time had a 66, which I just thought was really cool. So decided I needed to get one. So I started, back in the day, we would drive side streets, go through the neighborhoods and look for cool cars to possibly buy. And I saw this one sitting in the street. So I left a note on it. The guy called me. He was a young kid. He didn't want to sell the car, but he was I could tell he was kind of entertaining ideas of it because he needed something to drive and the brakes were not functioning on it. So with that in mind, I went out to find another car to buy to kind of maybe entice him with a trade, and that worked. I found a 68 Fury 4-door in Modesto. Been sitting 15 years. I bought it, did a little tune-up on it, got it roadworthy, and drove back to where the Barracuda was and said, how about this? And $500. The kid couldn't refuse, so it's mine now. It had the stock 273 in it at the time. It had a bunch of stupid speed stuff on it, like super high-rise intake and a 4-barrel. It was just way wrong for a 273. But my first project with this thing was to put disc brakes on it, so I put later model disc brakes, big bolt pattern. I did the whole suspension and brakes first. Those are 15-inch steel wheels. So that was done, and then after that I pulled the motor out because I wanted to go bigger, and at that time I put a 4-speed in it. It's originally an automatic car, so that was kind of new territory for me at the time. Found a 64 Valiant in the wrecking yard, and I chopped the tranny tunnel out of it. The transmission, originally I put an A833 in it, but currently it's got an aluminum overdrive in it, which I love. The rear gears are 355s, so it's super quick around town, but I can get out on the freeway and go 70 miles an hour at like 2,400 RPM, something like that. 8 3/4 rear end in it. And as I said, I did all this work a long time ago, like right after I got the thing, so it looks like a barn find now, especially since I never wash it and I don't drive it all that much. this hood here. This is a 340 with 273 Commando dressing. Those are Edelbrock heads. Kind of stealthy. I painted it all stock. Tried to just make it look like a stock 273. Those are 340 manifolds that were not the easiest to fit in here. I think over on this side I've got like a half an inch of clearance between the firewall or fender well and the exhaust manifold. The cam is Comp Cam's 270H, so it's a little lumpy. Radiator, that's a problem. This is like 19 inches. It's stock for the old 273, and I have cooling issues, so I put an electric fan on there, and it's better, but I'm still not happy with it. I will eventually change the core support here. I'll change this out and put a 22-inch radiator and go back to a fan clutch. I don't like the electric fan. Another project. That's what that is. So when the motor was out, I painted the firewall and the engine compartment all the stock red with the hopes of doing the body too. And here we are, how many years later? 30 years later. And at this point, I'm just completely undecided on what to do with this car. I may put headers on this. I mean, it's my hot rod, right? My other car is mellow, so I may put headers on this, and then I think, well, if I do that, I'm gonna have to take the motor out. So if I do that, do I paint the engine compartment 64 black, which I happen to have extra paint from another project I did. So I've got all these things going in my head of what I can do, or I can leave it. When I got this car, I put new seat covers on it. As I stated, that was 30 years ago, 30-something years ago. I did not change the seat foams. So, as you can see, we have what I call cornbread down there. I changed the carpet too. I put new carpet, which is why I put this fabric under the seats to keep that deteriorating foam powder from getting into the new carpet. So this carpet's actually halfway decent. So what else? No dash pad. I assume that was an option back then. I don't know. I've seen them 64s with and without dash pads. Some Nimrod cut the door panels before me, so that's, yeah. I'd rather not have those speakers in there, but it is what it is. I also changed the fastback area carpet and put new, but it's due again. 30 years goes by quickly. Some rust here. This is obviously a trunk lid off a different car. The trunk lid that was on this car was a little tweaked, so I saw one at a wrecking yard and I just grabbed it. It's not perfect, but it's what's on there now. I'd like to find a better one because I prefer not to replace rust, but if I have to, I will. And the wheel lip there had a little rust on it, which has been repaired. That's done. Other than that, this car is pretty rust free and straight. It just looks like hell. A little Bondo there above the emblem. I'm not sure about that. I might have to dig it out and see what the shape of the fender is. I might have to replace that too. Obviously, if I paint the thing. I think there was Bondo on the original hood as well, so I swapped that out from, got rid of the old one and I got this from a buddy. And now this one's really straight. That dent on the door is like the only real major dent that needs attention. And that's been there since I got the thing too. Needs a windshield. That's aftermarket and it's getting a little foggy on the edges. And there it is, my '64 Barracuda. Let's see if I can make a video and drive a 4-speed at the same time. I used to drive to work every day with a cup of coffee in this car, so I should be able to make a video